Hey nerds, Sage is here. One, just gonna say it, apologize in advance if I sound off. I think it might be a cold of some sort. So if I have any sniffles, sorry. Second, this is actually going to be in reply to a comment or a few comments that I got that just recently sprung up on my Choose Your Legends thing, because someone was watching our whole which free unit should you pick thing, and basically, well, we went with Lynn. And the main reasons were, one, she's good, and second, she's, you can avoid choosing from, and we quote, a colorless hell. And someone was like, what does that even mean? And, well, I guess we'll talk about summoning Bloat, which is something that's kind of been happening for a little bit. But, unfortunately, colorless kind of get the back end of it, or the bad end, whichever you want to say. The bad portions of it. We'll come back to the focus units and how they kind of, mix in with this in a second, but mostly we're going to be talking about scroll it down, all the way down here to our colorless units. So, mostly when it comes to colorless units, when you're summoning, usually you want, well, the upper portion here. That's because people really want archers. Archers are heavy hitters. They, of course, are ranged, so they can hit over, walls or distances, what have you. People really like archers. And that means, well, you're going to want to roll in colorless to try and get one. But then you also have to take into account all of this. Now, here's a funny little thing about colorless, or at least throwing units. There's only really been one unit that's been added to colorless that has been a throwing unit and has been added back into the pool. No specialty units, and that is Jafar. And even then, Jafar is not that great. There have been a lot more archers and healers that have been added to the game than throwing star units, and that might be because a lot of throwing star units aren't that great. Some have found niches, some are, resistance walls, while others are, well, good at annihilating a certain unit type. Kagero, is a good example. She has those daggers that hit infantry really hard and kind of make up for the lack of might that a lot of throwing star units have, which is unfortunate. And that's just kind of the reason why throwing units have really fallen by the wayside, and as more characters are added to the pool, it's just, I guess it's something that's going to keep going. And then, of course, we have healers who, well, I guess, when it comes to 5-star units, a lot of these units are characters that have either A, a legendary weapon, B, significant stat spreads that make up the reason for them being there, or C, a decent enough ability that's exclusive to them, or something that, would constitute them being there. Healers, unfortunately, or staff units, don't really have that. To give an example, just off this list here, Mist, Ike's sister. She is basically a healer. The only thing she really has going for her as an actual exclusive unit, she's 5-star only, by the way. She only has a spur that has 2 effects, and even then, nowadays, that isn't something that's really all that amazing. And even then, when she was released, it wasn't that amazing. So when someone goes, oh hey, look, there's Mist, great. There's no reason for her to be in 5 stars, and there's a lot of reasons. A lot of these should not be here. Lucius, Lachesis, Maria, even Priscilla. These are units that really, I feel, should be knocked down a peg and should be removed from the 5-star pool, because honestly, as healers, there's really no reason for them. Meanwhile, we have Jafar, who was added. He has a legendary weapon. Kagero, decent enough stat spread, has a unique ability about her that could, make it, I was about to say constitute again, make her something useful as a 5-star. But a lot of these healers here do not need it. Not at all. And that's a lot of the reason why Colorless Hell exists, is because of this bloat here. A lot of these characters were added in a summoning session, and for some reason, a focus banner, and for some reason they were given 5-star status, despite the fact that they really, really do not need it. And then we have another problem. Characters like Jenny there, they really don't need to be there. Jenny, well, I love the fact that she adds the ability to basically let staff units, do damage. I feel it would be a better priority to maybe, move her down to 4 stars so it would be much more easily accessible. Unfortunately, it's a gated sort of content type of deal. A lot of those healing units that could do damage can't, simply because Jenny is, for some strange reason, locked behind a 5-star thing. Just because, well, I guess Wrathful Staff is game-breaking in some fashion. But, what do I know? Then we have other units like Faye up here who, honestly, shouldn't be 5 stars as well. And you can kind of get the idea of why Colorless Hell is, well, a hell, because it's divided into so many little nooks and crannies that you can kind of see you're either going to get something interesting, something you might use, aka the archers, or you're going to fall down this pathway and end up in healer territory or even throwing territory, which usually means not the best results, or at least not something you're going to want. And that's the unfortunate truth when it comes to Colorless, is that this division between the types of weapons is what really causes the bloat. But even then, bloat is something that's going to continue to happen as time goes on. Eventually, we may end up with, a different type of hell. Granted, green units actually are probably the easiest ones to avoid, at least avoid when it comes to, bad units, or at least units that aren't really all that amazing or shouldn't be there. But a lot of the other ones kind of end up with the same sort of problem. Granted, to a lesser extent. As you can see here, here's our focus units for this banner, which of course Alencia, Oscar, Nephany. These are characters that once this focus banner ends, they're going to be re-added into the pool, reassigned a rank, and given different, star rankings, pretty much. So, what's going to happen? Well, chances are, at least from what I can just look at this, Alencia and Nephany, they're probably going to remain 5-star exclusive, which is fine, they have their own thing. But Oscar is going to be moved down to 4-star, and, that's cool. But, really, when you look at the 5-star pool, we're going to have some problems here. So, Seth was added here. Seth, I really don't think needs to have or be in the 5-star pool. And this is just something that happens. There's no difference. 3-star shouldn't even really exist at this point, because they never really have touched upon that outside of maybe Grand Hero battles. And as they continue to add more units, we're going to end up with a little bit more of an Oscar situation here. To give you an example, there's Claire. Claire is a... Oh, god damn it, Christy. Claire is a unit there that, honestly, when you get her, it's kind of aggravating. She's not a good 5-star. She's not even a good 4-star. She only really has hit and run going for her. Then we have things like Seth and Luke, who are characters who... Luke is one of those characters that has a very interesting ability, Panic Ploy, but as time goes on, you're going to start to see that things are not really matching up for him. Now that we have Volter, who, came from Grand Hero battles, has Panic Ploy, his whole niche has kind of disappeared as time goes on. Add to the fact that a lot of these characters have abilities that are unique to them that really shouldn't be. Like, okay, I know I'm probably going to get some flack here for saying this, but Hinoka, while I love her and think she would be, she could be whatever star ranking she wants, the only reason that she's even, sought after to the point that she is because she has an ability that's for some reason only restricted to her. Hone Flyers is only on her. And outside of that, she really doesn't have much else. No real unique ability. Her stat spread is okay. It's nothing too crazy. But really, what really matters there is, the fact that she has that. And that's another problem with it, is that a lot of the bloat and a lot of the characters that are there have unique abilities that are only really restricted because they are on that character specifically. Saber is another good example. Shield Pulse, or whatever it's called. He's a great unit. He's a great and interesting unit. Probably not the best, but would really like to see Shield Pulse brought down as well as a unit, because Saber is, I believe, 5 stars exclusive as well, which is very, very odd. We have a lot of units that, while not as bad as, staff units right now, in that they don't really have anything too crazy, we are starting to see a little bit of bloat. And that, I'm hoping, as time goes on, we won't really be seeing the, the staff level. That really needs to be restructured entirely, in how they are exclusive or, exclusive to 5 stars. I'm looking at you, Mist. But as time goes on, we really don't need a lot of these characters who are currently there. I'm sure a lot of people can agree with Gray when they were rolling for Celica and things like that, because honestly, but still, nonetheless, there is a bit of bloat when it comes to certain units, more so in the Colorless and Colorless Hell, which a lot of people will always mention. It's such a shame that, when you're trying to build a character and you want to use a very unique or interesting ability, it's restricted behind a 5-star unit that you're probably, unless they are focus, you're not going to be able to get. That can be easily alleviated as time goes on, because, to give an example, Lancebreaker, well, not exactly the best, was kind of restricted only to Narcian. And now we have Oscar, who has it available whenever, and chances are he's going to become 4 stars. So as time goes on, we're going to get more units there, and hopefully a lot of these more exclusive abilities will be moved down as well. I'm really hoping so, because I really don't want to see things become much more of a Colorless Hell. That just doesn't look like fun to me. And that's just well, an example of why Colorless Hell is exactly the hell it is. And why, as much as I like Oscar, I don't really think he should be 5 stars after this event. Just saying. Or why Seth is there, or God, Luke, Carl, God, there's so many units there that have been kind of like redone or done better in other ones. Oh boy, there's so many. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's kind of trying to explain Colorless Hell, and a little bit of the bloat there that's going on. It's a weird world we live in, but I hope you guys didn't mind listening to my rant and explanation for that person who asked. So, for now, guys, I'm out. See you later.